I'm great. I'm a dad now. Did you know? Did you know that?
I saw. I mean,
You
like
saw it.
I saw. I read it.
Yeah, he's
Don't give
14
your
months
kid-
today.
don't give him cocaine. Like, don't do that. Rumor has
How?
it it's bad to do. Like, you shouldn't do it. The
Okay.
person telling me they're like, "Hey, you can't give your kids cocaine." I'm like, God, holy shit! I got
Huh.
to tell other people. I got to let them know.
You know what? Let me write this down. I don't want to, fatherly tips from Nick Rekieta. This is great. All right. No cocaine. All right. Done. That's number one on the list.
Whew, got that out of there. Yeah, I was worried that you were going to fall into that trap really early, and it's like, no, you got to wait till they're a little older. But still, you don't. Don't do that.
What's the appropriate age range that have the conversation?
Well, it kind of depends if the government tells, if the government tells your kids that you're doing a bunch of drugs, then you have to have that conversation a lot earlier than planned.
Right. Yeah.
My kids had no idea. They had no idea about any of it. They're not. They were homeschooled and stuff, so they weren't overly exposed to something like the DARE program, which the DARE program teaches kids how to do drugs. It's the funniest.
Right.
That's
pretty funny. It's so true.
My kids had no idea, about anything involving any drugs, and I was like, "How do you guys not know any of this, like, at all?" And I went, "Oh wait, you didn't go to DARE. If you went to DARE, you would know how to do cocaine,
Right.
do heroin, you'd know how to do like weed, you'd know how all these things came about." And they don't know any of that. So that was funny, though. Like, funny, not really, but how the government told my kids, like, they're like, "Oh, don't you know that your parents are doing this?" I was like, I've worked so fucking hard to keep that away from them, and you just bust the door down. And now my kids just make fun of me for it, so that's okay.
That's a good attitude of them. I mean, so how did it even come about that anyone knew that? Like, why did they bust your door down? Like, what led to that?
A couple things. We'll never know the full story, and by we I mean I won't ever know the full story because I'm not. There's no use in complaining about this. I can't change it. I pled guilty. I'm doing my probation sentence, and so that's all done. I'm not. There's a very limited possibility that you could ever go after what happened. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
That being said, there are conversations that occurred prior to the warrant and prior to my arrest that we were never given. We weren't even told about. These are things that they should have been required to provide in discovery, and they just didn't. They didn't do it. There's a conversation that happened with April's mother. There's a conversation that happened with my mother-in-law. These are not recorded. They are not reported anywhere. It took forever to find out about them. There's also another call that happened with another one of my wife's family members that preceded the arrest, and I have reason to believe that that conversation involved information from another person who we won't really talk about too much. But all of this stuff happened. I know that it happened now. I didn't know when I was fighting the criminal case, because the government, if they don't give you stuff, you can't go get it. Like, you can tell the court, you can bitch about it, but I can't subpoena the cops' phone calls. If I was suing you, I could subpoena your phone records, right? Like, if I could show that there was relevance to getting information out of there, I could subpoena your phone records and go through them. With the cop, even though they record all the phone calls and they have an incident log for every single one of them, you can't go after it, which is crazy. But that's how it is.
Was it legal? Was it legal what they did?
It's really hard.
Gray area?
It's hard to say because I don't have enough information. I will say I don't believe that it was legal. I don't believe that. I mean, look, I had the stuff. Like, I'm not saying anything other than that. My fault for having illegal drugs in my house, right? But how the warrant came about is tainted in several ways. I can't go after it anymore. There's no profit to me, like, saying this and being like, I can press on it. I can't. The judge who signed the warrant has been forced to resign as a judge because
I heard that. Yeah, you mentioned that on your stream last week.
Yeah, she has been. She was caught taking retaliatory action against lawyers against defendants, against other judges, anyone who spoke negatively about her. Well, in the video that they used to justify the raid on my house, I said that she was such an alcoholic, if you wrung her out, liquor would come out of her vagina.
That's good. That's funny.
I stand by that statement. You are not for me to back down. That so bitch had to resign. Fuck her. I hate her. That being said, it's kind of crazy to think that a judge can go through and utilize a video that openly disparages that judge and not recuse himself and have another judge make the warrant decision.
Right.
That shouldn't have been allowed. However, that judge was still practicing in good standing up until after my sentencing. Like that happened later. So and as that stuff happens, and as you get this information, you go, well, fuck me, this would have been nice. You know, and it took over a year or about a year for me to get sentenced. So it's not like it happened quick. You know, it's not like there wasn't enough time to get this stuff. This stuff should have been disclosed. It should have been released, but it wasn't. I can't ever, the obvious answer is that it was legal because the judge said it was legal and we lost on the appeal. So it's legal. There's new information now, probably not sufficient to overturn what happened. There's not really any benefit in me doing so. It's easier. Like it would make my probation shorter, but we're talking about, another year to 2 years of a legal fight at least to get that done. It's not going to happen overnight if I were to do it. And it's not so easy because of deadlines that have already passed. So we'd have to get permission to go after all this stuff. It's
right. It's just not worth it.
Correct. It's easier to just go ahead and do, again, I had the drugs. They were illegal. I know, I did it. I was perfectly content fighting to preserve as many of my rights as I could and make sure that I was given my opportunity to be heard. I had it, but I was also perfectly content going, okay, I did this. Now I face my punishment. I don't agree that the punishment should exist. I'm morally ambivalent on drugs. I don't have a moral problem with them, but society has a legal problem with them, and I should have taken more care and recognized that, and I didn't. So now I pay the price.
Quick question on those drugs. Now, have you seen Captain America?
Which
the
one?
movie? The first Captain America from Marvel.
Yeah,
one of the good before they went to shit.
Right.
So he takes the the super serum, and then he's realizing, or Bucky dies. I think it was one of maybe the next movie, and he's trying to drink and he can't drink.
Get drunk
because his metabolism's so strong. So with having such a large nose, do you have to intake more to offset the size of your nose?
I told him, it's not my cocaine, it's everyone else's. That's around in the tri-state area. I just breathe in and it happens. It's not my fault.
It just ends up in your room. I sneezed and anyway.
Well, every time I sneeze, there's more Easter.
Yeah. Oh, and then it blows out, and then it gets in the hair of the kids who are playing in the other room. Right? We figured it out.
We figured that out.
We figured it out. I knew it.
That brings us to the next obvious question. This test that came out.
Yeah.
Interestingly,
explain this.
The test itself has not come out. The test itself is
never
correct. The results of the test are contained inside an order, and the order, the question that the court was answering with that order was: should the kids go back into the house, or should they remain outside of the house for a longer period of time during the emergency removal? The problem that the county had was they didn't have anything to justify the kids being outside of the home. And I'll even
taken in the first place, I think.
Yeah, the reason they took them is because when there's drugs in a home, they take kids. I don't think that that's appropriate. I don't believe in the state being a useful addition to the lives of children in general, but that's a personal sort of bias. That being said, the state will automatically remove children if there's drugs in the home until they're sure that there aren't drugs in the home. Well, we had wanted to get after it happened, they took everything, and then we went through and got the house completely cleaned up and made sure there was nothing left around, right? Like in a jacket pocket
Yeah.
or something.
Sure.
Which could have happened. Thank God it didn't.
True.
That being said, all they did was they took this test and they used that test to say that it justified them keeping the kids out of the home because they didn't know what happened. They never accused us of giving our child cocaine because that's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyone with children or who's done cocaine, or particularly both, knows that you wouldn't do that. Like, you'd be driving yourself. You barely want to give your kids caffeine because they go nuts. You imagine
True.
giving them an extremely strong stimulant, and it's just not something you'd want to do.
True.
That being said, we don't really know how the test result occurred. The first person who was mad about the test result was me. And my wife. We were both there. And
Sure.
I said, this is bullshit. There's no fucking way. We were exceedingly careful, and I had to really monitor how I said anything, because at the time, anything I said would be used in the criminal case. But I knew for a fact that there was never an opportunity for that child to get into anything. Everything was in a locked safe, and that locked safe came with me when I left the house. I never wanted I didn't want us to get swatted and have something happen while like the babysitter's there with the kids or anything like that.
Right.
So I had it with me. It was a big personal risk because, like if they search your car or whatever, but to me, that's way more important. Like, I'll take the risk rather than put it on my kids, obviously. I asked them immediately. I said, we want them redo the test. And they said, no, they wouldn't do it. And at the time, we didn't have custody of our children. We didn't have legal or physical custody of the children. We were not able to get that test done. We weren't able to see them without supervision at the time. And if we had somehow taken the kids and then taken them to the testing facility, they would say, no, the county has the legal authority to make this decision. So we couldn't get it retested. That was our first thing, is because we wanted to find out what happened too.
Right.
We don't know. I have a guess. This is a complicated issue for two reasons. One, you don't know what happened. And two, the only guess that you can come up with is the best evidence that you have. But you have no idea if that is the correct thing. The best evidence that I have and can actually reasonably put together is that a police officer, not nefariously, during the raid, did use gloves that were touching cocaine and touched my child's hair. That happened. I have it on video.
You do?
Yes, I have all of that. And again, he was not being nefarious. My child she was about to leave with her grandparents, and she wanted her iPad. So she went into the house like she normally would and started walking to go get her iPad. Well, they didn't want her walking up on another, I assume they didn't want her walking up on another officer or maybe disturbing some other area of the house where they were looking for stuff. So he just gently, he grabbed her and said, sweetie, you need to wait. And he just had his hand on her hair. Nothing special, nothing crazy about it. He wasn't trying to do anything with it. That's the best evidence I can come up with. The most likely outcome, or the most likely cause, is a lab error, something like that. But since we were not accused of doing this, we never had to fight the test. We never got the opportunity to refute the test. They never brought in an expert to explain the test. All they had to do was say, we have reason to believe that there was that something happened where contact was made inside the home with this child. And in fairness, that very likely is true through the gloves that touched her hair. And I mean, those gloves had handled cocaine literally a minute or less before they touched her hair. It's not like this is an attenuated point or something. The cop, they had moved the cocaine safe from the master bathroom. They took it outside and cracked it open, and they brought it back in the house, which is insane to me. They brought it back into the house to the bathroom that's in the foyer. And my daughter, of course, when she went in to get her iPad, went into that area, the foyer area. And so they had it within 10 feet of where she's standing. And that guy had just been handling, bags of cocaine and ketamine and stuff like that. So that's my best guess. I know for a fact that my daughter didn't do cocaine. My daughter is also, despite the fact that our children are homeschooled, my daughter's around adults all the time. Tons of activities. We're very active in the community. Our kids are very active in the community. No one had any idea about any of this stuff. So that being said, I'll forever wonder what caused that. Like I said, the most likely outcome is a lab error. I wish we would have gotten discovery from the lab to see if we could, figure that out. But they chose not to do that. They chose not to give us that even when we requested it and when we requested it again. They didn't give us that information. But like I said, they didn't accuse us of it, so we didn't have to fight it. If you can't,
why is the internet like holding that? That's one of the main things that I see of your haters is bringing that up. Like how did that? Did it get out?
So, like I said, it was in an order. The judge to justify extending the emergency hold on the children. That's all it was.
Okay, I see. So they referenced this test. Yeah,
this test result came. It tested at over this amount, and therefore that's a finding of fact in the thing. It doesn't say why it happened because no one has any idea. I have had conversations with the social workers. I'm like, you realize this is insane. Like this didn't happen, and they said we don't believe that you gave your daughter coke. Like we don't believe that. My children were all examined. They all had medical examinations, and they were all interviewed independent of us, without our knowledge, without our ability to influence it. This all happened while we were arrested right away. When all this happens, they all say the same thing. They've never seen drugs. They've never seen their parents on drugs. They don't know at all what this would look like or anything like that. And then the next thing was their medical records, or not their medical records, their medical test results were all completely normal. Like these are all normal kids. They don't have any signs of any sort of drug use or anything like that. So now I'm just left with it. There's nothing I can do about it. At one point, I may put together a whole presentation on it. That's been complicated quite a bit by people trying to get the body cam footage, because the video that shows it is body cam footage. And, people are trying
that shows the officer grabbing or holding back your daughter. Okay.
Yeah. Because, obviously it happened during the raid. So it's caught on the body cams of a couple different officers. But until that's resolved, I can't release any of the body cam stuff. It's in the realm of an ongoing legal dispute. And but yeah, so once that's done, maybe I can put things together with screenshots and like I can look. I approached this problem the same way I would approach it if it came from one of my clients, which was start researching everything you can about this testing and figure out what the hell happened. Because that's the best thing I could do. And people don't really seem to understand how drug testing works, particularly how hair follicle testing works and stuff like that, which is fine. But I can put together like a presentation with all the papers and everything, but it gets really boring to talk about.
Yeah.
So I won't spend too much time on it here. But
well, you shouldn't anyway, because the people that it would be for are the people that hate you, and those people are not gonna like be like, well, all right, I was wrong. No, they are gonna think you're lying, and it doesn't really matter what that video will show anyway. So
right, and the funny thing about all this, one of the funny things to me is people who say like, your kids are gonna find out about this, your kid, blah, blah, they'll see all this. It's like, they were there, right?
They know already. Okay.
My kids know that they didn't do drugs. So like, if you say over and over that they did, like, they're not going to believe you. I don't know. I don't know if you figured that out or not.
That is kind of ridiculous though, when I see these people. So what were the charges? What did you end up getting charged with?
So I was charged initially with second-degree possession of a controlled substance, which just means that you had a mixture of 25 grams or more of powders, basically.
Okay.
is second degree possession, which got dropped to third degree, but we'll get to that in a second.
Sure.
The other thing I was charged with was child endangerment because there were drugs in the house. To be very clear on that, child endangerment charge had nothing to do with the hair follicle test because the hair follicle test was not done until later. Like you said, if there's drugs in the house and with children, they charge you. Now, this may be unfair. I have a big house. You could have drugs in one part of it and the children could not be exposed. When you get down to people who live in different income levels or in different, even just different circumstances, like a house in LA that is the same as my house is going to be like 1,400 square feet, whereas mine's 5,000, right? You're going to be a lot closer in proximity.
Sure.
So they automatically charge it out. They dropped it right away in the plea negotiations. And the last thing was having firearms in the house with drugs, which, the firearms have been fired. And since we moved here, they were sitting in a box. The cops write everything in a way that makes it look as bad as possible. For example, they said that they found my rifle with loose ammunition, which is not true. The ammunition was in boxes. The ammunition was also for a 45 auto handgun and a 380 and 380 whatever round 380 caliber handgun.
308.
No, 3.
Okay.
So
380.
yeah. So it's like, okay, there were bullets near the gun, but they wouldn't work in that gun. Like it's not possible to do that. If you tried, you might die or whatever. So that's how they word and write things. But yeah, so they dropped that charge as well. So I entered into a plea agreement where I pled guilty to third degree possession, which is actually the appropriate charge because the initial weight that they weigh the bags and the containers in the field. So it came out of 26 grams. And if you're over 25 grams, it's second degree. Well, there's 4 bags. They weigh about a gram each, gram to 2 grams. And so when you take that
the bags themselves,
right, you take that into account and suddenly you're down to 19 grams. It's what they ended up weighing out. So that's a third degree possession charge. And so I pled guilty to that. They dismissed the drug charge or the gun charge and the kid charge. And they dismissed all the charges against my wife, and they dismissed all the charges against our friend April. Okay.
So it all was just on you. That's honestly probably best case scenario.
Yeah. Right? I mean it's true. It was my stuff in my safe. They didn't know the combo to the safe. So I was the one who would, who could get it out. It wasn't theirs. I'm the one who bought it. I'm the one who would go get it. So that was one, it was true. 2, they were going to come after me no matter what, and they were going to get their guy, that was going to happen. So it didn't make sense to have more than one person it wasn't going to reduce my charge if someone else had to bear part of the blame. Right. So it was going to hit all of us. So I just negotiated away their charges.
Nice. I mean,
supposed to do, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I think that was the right scenario or right thing to do. You take the fall. So now you got probation for what, how long? I don't know if you talking publicly about it, but
5 years.
5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly,
it's
all right.
So the original charge had a max of 25 years of probation. So getting 5 years, I think, is not the worst thing that could possibly happen. I'll take it.
And no prison?
Correct. No prison time, no jail time, other than the initial arrest. I was there for about 26 hours total. And but then no jail after that. I did have to do 80 hours of community service, which I completed. It was kind of fun. I've
done community service before.
I just worked with some people outside. I don't normally do that, so it was kind of a nice change of pace.
Yeah. The Bronca Show for $20. Thank you for that 20 bomb. The legal outcome achieved by Nick here was masterful. Probably helps that you're a lawyer.
It was interesting because the whole time people told me I was doing the wrong thing. I was making missteps. I was screwing everything up. I was going to walk myself into jail or whatever. And the reality is I walked out with a deal that, you know, you just don't get. I mean,
Right.
you don't get that deal. There it was a first time offense, so the likelihood of jail was reduced, but they did try to put me in jail for 30 days. Like that that happened. Uh,
Okay.
but we got around all of that stuff, and again, getting the charges dropped entirely against both of the women, and getting the kid and the gun charges. It was not the most fun process. I had to endure a lot of bullshit and had to argue a lot and hold out a lot. But at the end of the day, like, it's like, what do you guys really want to go to trial on this? Because like we will if we have to. And thankfully they didn't want to, because we probably would have lost. Would have gotten our asses kicked a little bit. But yeah, always appreciate Andrew's commentary, and it's nice seeing people who know how it goes say, yeah, like, you did a good job, because a lot of people tried to, for whatever reason, say that wasn't happening. Well,
Right.
that's y'all's credibility on the line.
True. Mazinger Z for 5 says, Adam, what's your opinion on a parent that ditches hard drugs with their unattended child to avoid getting caught when pulled over? That's oddly specific, and I don't know who you're talking about.
I do. I know who he's talking about.
Oh, who's he talking about?
He's talking about me, of course. That's not what happened.
Oh, that's one of those rumors that was going around, right?
Misinterpretation of something that occurred when I got pulled over. Well, I wasn't pulled over. I pulled over, and I thought we were getting swatted. So I had a little bit of cocaine in my pocket, and when the cop says, I need to search you, like you need to get out of the car, I have to somehow not have cocaine in my pocket, right? So so what I did was I handed it to my daughter, and I said, you take all this right now, and you just suck it right down your nose. But I didn't leave it with her unattended. I forced her to take it. No, so I had, like I said, I had a little bit in my pocket, and in this little metal container, and I was able to slide it into my door of my car. And so that when they searched me, I didn't have it on me at all. That's it.
Smart.
My unattended daughter was never unattended at all, because she was with me. And even if she wasn't, she would have been with the police, and no danger of being anywhere near any drugs. So calm the fuck.
Oh, we've got another one from a Mazinger Z for 5. Says, Adam's thoughts on a guy divorcing for a newer model, but choosing the old bag because she's more useful revenge proxy against her bull. I don't understand this either. Does that actually make sense? Is that even any?
I mean, I guess the idea is that I was definitely going to divorce my wife, and then I didn't, because I wanted to utilize my relationship with her as revenge against someone else, which is insane.
Right.
I thought
one really sounded insane.
Yeah, I thought for a while that my wife was going to divorce me. I did think that. Like I said, we've been married a long time, and throughout the years, I've given her plenty of reasons that she could, but that's kind of how marriage goes. Is like you go along and things go well, and then there are times when things don't go well, and at some point, someone might decide that that's enough. And I thought that was happening. I had a bunch of reasons to think that. It didn't happen that way, though. And
that's good.
So I ended up, staying with my wife, and we fixed things. But there was another person who I was talking to, because I thought I was getting divorced, and that relationship had to end when my wife and I patched things up. So that, that's how it goes, and people can think whatever they want. Of course, it doesn't really matter, because what matters is what happened. My wife and I are good.